All right, everybody, welcome back here. We've not done one of these in a while, so I'm pretty excited to do it. Again, if you guys kind of seen the channel, I just kind of do these horror movie franchise rankings as I just kind of rewatch them and everything. I've seen these movies so many freaking times, but I do like over just kind of rewatch them, not in any particular time span or anything, just kind of whenever I get around to it and everything. And then we just rank them. So, with that being said, we are looking at the Friday the 13th franchise tonight. We've looked at Nightmare on Elm Street. We've looked at Hellraiser. We're going to take a peek at this Friday the 13th stuff here. There's 12 freaking movies here. One of my favorite franchises of all time. These two, actually, Freddy and Jason, probably my top two favorite franchises, with Nightmare on Elm Street being like the number one for me, and Friday the 13th being just right behind it. So I mean, I have a lot of love for Jason, and if obviously my love for Freddy. If you've seen that ranking video, but this is all, everybody's got different opinions on this thing. I know there's some kind of divisive films in this, some controversial films in this series, but that's the fun thing. It keeps it interesting. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it with number 12, my least favorite of all. We're going to have to go with Jason Goes to Hell. Okay. And before I move on, you guys should definitely get the 12 movie box set, because, man, which I got the box set over there. I just pulled out the discs here, but, or the Blu-rays here. They each come with their actual original covers, because I know that was a big thing. Like, they wouldn't come out on DVD with their original covers. Some of them would, like this. You could get a original cover of it, but like Jason Takes Manhattan, like Jason Lives, there were several films that would not release them on like their original DVD or theatrical movie poster covers or VHS covers. So I always thought that was pretty lame, but this Blu-ray thing does it. Super cool looking box set. I probably should have grabbed it or whatever. Bunch of bonus features and stuff, reversible covers in there for some alternate stuff. So, but anyways, yeah. Well, so definitely, it's a definite, must buy if you're a Friday the 13th fan. And it's only like $120 for all that stuff. So totally worth it, in my opinion. But with that being said, let's talk about this shit right here, because I'm not a fan. All right, this is the one movie in this series that I just cannot stand. Which is a shame, because like, it starts off kind of, I'm like, okay, interesting. Kind of your classic Crystal Lake setup. Jason's looking like freaking gnarly in this one, all kinds of crazy. And then, bam, he's dead. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to see this thing in like Blockbuster, like the case of it and everything. And I remember thinking, because I wasn't allowed to watch it yet, but I remember thinking, oh, that's badass. He's going to be walking around in hell, Jason slaying demons and stuff. And kind of like on the back there, it kind of makes it look like that. Let me look, he's getting pulled under, which, it makes you, the cover makes you think that, the cover's really badass looking. But no, that's not all. Instead, you get him hopping bodies, doing just, like, he's like a worm. And I hate that they kind of use that and kind of make that a part of his lore or whatever, and I just cannot stand it. I think that's dumb. I know this movie's got some love online, like some kind of has a cult following. I'm not one of those guys. I cannot stand this movie. Now it has some cool kills, like the kill where with a spear through, when those two are, teenagers or whatever are banging in the tent and puts that spike through him and cuts him straight down the middle. That's pretty badass. I like the ending of this movie, and that takes place in that big Voorhees mansion or whatever. But I always just thought that, before I ever saw this movie, I always thought, I'm like, man, that's probably a badass film. Jason roaming around in hell, maybe, I thought he maybe would look something like, kind of like the Savini Jason, if you guys have played the Friday the 13th, the game that Tom Savini's designed, like a hell Jason, to get flames and stuff coming out of his eyes and everything, and a black mask. I thought, and it even has like a trident, I thought maybe that's kind of the thing that would be, going on, but not at all here. It's instead freaking body snatcher, hopping bodies over and over again, and it just looks so freaking weird. These people walking around like Jason, they're all humans and puking up, bile and blood, and you know, it just really, really terrible movie in my opinion. I don't like it at all. This is the only one in the series that I just cannot stand. I want more Jason in his actual body. But anyways, then we just turn it on over to number 11, the remake. And this movie has ranked just quite a bit lower as the years have gone by for me. I don't dislike this movie at all. I think it's a pretty solid movie, and a pretty decent remake. There are just some aspects I don't like about it. I don't like that Jason's, go down here kidnapping people. That's not what he does. And I mean, it is a remake, so it's going to do, its own thing with it and everything. So I give it props for that, the originality on that aspect. But that's just not what I want to see. I don't want to see him down here kidnapping people just because it looked like his mom. You know, um, the characters are. I mean, you always get like your asshole characters or whatever that are like, oh man, I'm ready for him to get killed or whatever. But like every character in here, just about, besides like one or two, are just so unlikable. Like that, I'm just like, let's get them, please, and do it fast. Because I just cannot. They're all just annoying. To me. And again, you get those asshole characters and kind of annoying, kind of funny characters and stuff in the other movies. But like this one is just, I don't know what it is. They piss me off to where I'm just like, oh my god, like I don't even like the characters maybe that you're supposed to like that are kind of goofy or something. I don't like them. And I mean, I'm always wanting Jason to just slash up whoever it is, but this I really especially do. I love the intro to this movie. Where they're out there hunting for that pot or whatever, and like Jason, I love how he just runs and stuff and has traps, and I like the little system he has, the little bells and stuff that will trigger people coming out, or if people trip over that stuff, it'll trigger him, like a sound, a bell or something for him to come out and chase him down, and get him. And so I think that's really, really cool. I like how it kind of cramps in parts 1, 2, and 3, all kind of in one, with like the opening credits kind of being the part 1. Then you get that opening scene kind of being like the part 2. He's got the sack mask on and everything. Then you get like, he finds the hockey mask a little bit in there. So I do like that. It's also got some pretty badass kills. A great, portrayal of Jason, I think, besides the whole kidnapping thing or whatever. But like the viciousness of him running and just chasing out. I mean, that's freaking crazy. So I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not bored with it. It's a good time. I just have some pretty big problems with it. It kind of ranks low for me. Then number 10, and this might be controversial or whatever, but maybe not, because I've seen kind of a lot of people maybe drop this one quite a bit lower. You gotta respect it because it is the first one. Friday the 13th, and it's a classic, teen slasher out there in the woods, Camp Crystal Lake, just all the classic stuff. But maybe we just they spoiled us on Jason, over the years with so Pamela being the killer, like that's cool and everything. It makes this one kind of a different film, and it's more of a whodunit kind of movie. But you know who it is throughout the thing. It has some awesome kills with, Kevin Bacon getting that freaking spear jabbed through his throat. Tom Savini does like the effects and everything on that, so it's really cool. But this one, I mean, it is pretty slow. Kind of takes a while to get going and everything. And even then, but it's just more of it's kind of just a generic slasher for the most part. And that, again, it's not bad. It's just one of those things that you think Friday the 13th, you definitely want to watch Jason most of the time. At least I do. But this is one I can definitely put on and have a blast. It's a fun movie. It's this classic movie. I remember seeing this all the time when I was a kid, and, early teenage years as just one. Because I remember when I was a kid, my mom, this was like the only one that... this one and like part 2 were the only ones she'd let me watch for some reason. Even though like these ones got news, she'd just be like, cover your eyes, you know. But then for some reason the other ones were no, you know, I guess because the gore and those are crazy or whatever, quite a bit crazier. But this is a solid movie. It's a classic, you know. It's definitely like a nostalgic kind of watch, but it just hasn't aged as well with, you know, Jason kind of becoming the star of the show after this one and everything. But I do dig part one, and I'm going to slap it at number 10. Number 9. We're going to go with this right here, A New Beginning, that doesn't exactly have Jason in it. Instead, we got Roy. Spoiler alert, you probably already know if you're watching this video and everything. Dude, kind of a weird setup, you know. They're all in that, like, kind of what caretaking house and everything for, like, these, you know, children with mental issues or whatever, and dude's going around annoying people. One crazy dude snaps and kills them. We're trying to help him with cutting some logs or something. Then the ambulance guy just kind of freaking, you know, I guess loses it and is going around as Jason. And, you know, he doesn't really, he's not too convincing as far as the appearance. I mean, he's got blue chevrons on the mask for one, but I think it's kind of cool. It kind of makes it different. And he's wearing like a Michael Myers boiler suit. So, but the kills in this are pretty, you know, gruesome. Like this one is kind of showing in the back there where he gets like that belt thing and like ties this dude like around a tree with his eyes and just keeps cranking it. He gets shears and stabs people in the eyes. I mean, there's some really badass kills in this one. And there's also, you know, the kind of the more there's more, it goes more into like the story of Tommy Jarvis and everything, which the guy who plays him is kind of weird in this, but I mean, I guess it kind of fits because he's disturbed, you know, after Final Chapter. So there's kind of some weird characters and stuff, like the whole that, what is it, that Ethel lady and her son. They're just kind of weird. There's like a kung fu type kick from Tommy Jarvis on this guy. Just weird stuff going on. But some memorable characters, some awesome kills. I think that, you know, maybe if this was Jason all along in this one, and this, you know, is just how it went, people maybe would like this one a bit more. Because I've seen some people put it like the bottom just simply because of that. But I mean, you're getting more like Jason in a way than you are in like Jason Goes to Hell. And, you know, at the end, just kind of weird with Tommy, like, puts on the mask and is about to, like, you know, stab him. They didn't end up going that direction, thankfully, with, you know, the mask being passed around to different people and everything. But I think it's just a solid movie, and it's a really fun time. New Beginning, some awesome stuff right here. Now with number 8. This is also one that has a cult following. And I am down with this one right here. Jason X. This one is a freaking blast. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's hilarious. I mean, just balls to the wall chaos. You know, I mean, look, you got this robot chick here getting involved and KM or 14 or whatever. And, you know, getting her head knocked off and still talking all these, like, jokes and stuff like that guy. Like the captain of the ship saying, look, he just wants his machete back, and then gets killed. Just funny stuff like that. I love Uber Jason, you know, the whole cyborg thing. That's such a badass look, you know. And I really, really dig, you know, the kills in this one. There are a lot of awesome kills. Who can forget the kill? The liquid nitrogen, jamming her face in there, smashing it, and then looking at it, and then throwing her down. I mean, just one of the best kills in the whole franchise right there. And I just love how campy and over the top it is. Anybody who goes into this expecting like a serious, oh, you're going to get scared or anything like that, or no, you got to go into this knowing like what the hell it is, you know. And honestly, first time I ever watched it, I did not like it. I was like, that is some shit, because I didn't really know, you know, years ago, first time watching it, I didn't know what kind of flick it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of like an alien movie, you know, in a way, with the tone and everything, the Jason instead of the xenomorph. But so I was kind of like, what the hell? Then you watch it again, and you're like, once you know what it is, and you watch it again and again, it just, you grow to love it. I mean, it's just a fun movie that, again, doesn't take itself seriously. And it's just a blast to watch, for a good time, a good laugh. It's more of a, definitely more of a comedy kind of thing. It came out in 2001, so, or 2001, 2002, something like that. But so I mean, it was kind of in that era, kind of like near the Scream franchise, where it was kind of dominating. More of those kind of you know horror comedy element things going in, or like the more comedy elements being involved in some of these horror movies, and kind of over the top, and stuff like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I mean, look, it's above the original and some of this stuff, which I know I could get crucified for, by some some hardcore extreme fans out there. But this is just my opinion here. I dig Jason X. I think it's a fun flick, with a cool change in setting too, especially if you're watching these all the way through. Kind of in a, I mean, not back to back to back. That would take you'd be up a couple days, but just kind of watch it through the series. It kind of breaks up the monotony of being at Crystal Lake and everything, which is pretty cool. So pretty cool setting with that too. All right, so let me go. Number 7, I'm going to have to go with Friday the 13th Part 2. This one is just, I mean, it's a pretty fast-paced flick, right off the bat. I mean, besides the whole, one thing I don't like about this one is it's like recaps Part 1 pretty much entirely. It's like, okay, dude, like, especially because I think this past rewatch, we were watching it, and my girlfriend and I were watching it, and I'm pretty sure we watched Part 1 and 2 like back to back, then like one night. We're gonna go ahead and knock out 2 in one night. And I'm just like, oh my God, like we just literally just saw this. Like, why are we going over it again? And I get maybe back then, people, if it was out of theaters, it was a couple, I think it was like a year after it came out. Yeah, 1981. Maybe people forgot, and they're like, hey, just a reminder, this is what went down. But I mean, that kind of aspect didn't age too well, especially if you're going to watch Part 1 and 2 kind of as a double feature kind of thing for a night. But Jason with the sack head and everything, really, really cool. Kind of, makes, again, one that makes this stand out too in the series, because you get like a totally different look of Jason. Some awesome kills that little wheelchair kill with that machete to the face goes rolling down. I mean, that's just freaking great stuff. You get one of the best counselors in the series. I think her name is Jenny. And kind of like right back here, she was like a child psychologist, or not. She wasn't yet, but she was going to school for it, I think is what she said. And so she, played, used that to her advantage when going up against Jason, putting on the sweater, tricking him and making him, think that, hey, you're talking to your dead mom right now. And, so really, really cool way, kind of very iconic way to kind of, get against Jason and stop him. You get some overall really awesome characters in this movie, and it's just a fun one, from kind of beginning to end. Cut out that little recap deal. But I even dig like the main character, I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head, from the first one, who Jason gets in her house and kills her, and you get the cool unmasking of Jason, where he's got like, just looks all kinds of crazy. Still one of like the ugliest and craziest looking unmasked Jasons, like with just the hair kind of going everywhere, and like half a beard and just all over. I mean, it's still pretty crazy looking to this day. But Part 2, just an awesome, awesome movie. That's always a good time. All right, we are halfway through here. This one's gonna definitely cause some controversy, and I'm not putting it here just to cause controversy. This is just kind of where I'm at with it, and we're at a point where I just, I absolutely love these movies, these next ones. But Part 6, or sorry, number 6 is going to be Part 4, the final chapter, and that's the majority of what I've seen. This is people's number 1, and I totally get where you're coming from. It's got, I think Corey Feldman's first movie, possibly. I don't know if it's his first one, but it's definitely one of his early ones, as Tommy Jarvis. Um, you get what Crispin Glover doing this dorky dance in this thing. That's just fun. I like the characters a lot in this one overall. The characters are great in this movie. Um, Jason is badass, with his black fingernails. Just some really, really awesome kills, like with the corkscrew thing. You get him. The whole final act of this thing is one of the best in the whole series. With Tommy going shaving his head and tricking, kind of pulling, what Jenny did in part two, kind of tricking Jason, and kind of making him think like you're looking at your kid's self and everything, and just the gruesome, machete to the face, and he, falls on it. I mean, that's still crazy looking. But yeah, there's just some badass kills in this one, and it's a really well made, 80s flick, a classic slasher. I just, to me, I don't know. I just rank it a little bit lower because mainly what it boils down to is just like, for me, just the pacing is a little bit on the ones above this. I like the pacing a little bit better, and I like the kills better, which is obviously a factor when it comes to these type slasher movies and everything. But I mean, this one does get a lot of points for the story and kind of the setting, out there in the house, which makes a really cool setting. And Corey Feldman is just awesome in pretty much any movie he was in back then. But and I think while some of these kills are incredible, I like the kill in the shower and the corkscrew kill, the one where he chunks that chick out the window, or he either does that or he busts her through it, something like that. But this one doesn't have the most memorable kills to me. But it's a very memorable performance from Jason. A really cool. I like the whole rain. When it starts raining and stuff in the night. Just a classic slasher. And again, I totally understand why people put it mostly at their number one. But for me, we're just gonna put it down here at number 6. And my number 5 is gonna be one that's the one right before it. Really similar movie here with part 3. 3D, that whole gimmick thing with it. Just you get the first ever, hockey mask Jason as he gets that from the character Shelly, which this is another one I love the characters in. The whole biker gang guys, going out to that barn. That's really cool stuff. Just one by one, Jason's picking them off. I like Chris Higgins, one of the main kind of final girl. Excuse me. Just this movie, I'll never forget watching this one because, like I said, I had only when I was a kid, I'd only seen like 1, 2, and then like Freddy versus Jason. But I remember when I was watching through all the movies for the first time years and years ago, and I got to this one, because I'd never seen the one where Jason first got his hockey mask. I was like, man, that's badass. I love the kills in this one where the axe right down the middle, and the 3D, even though it's kind of corny thing going on with it, it makes some cool kills, like when he squeezes the dude's head and his eye pops out. The harpoon gun's a classic. This is a classic movie for me, and I love how it just kind of keeps going. The battle with Jason and Chris Higgins at the end is one of my favorite whole ending sequences, because even after she thinks she's hung him or whatever, he lifts up his mask, he's smiling, gets out of that noose and everything, and it's just they keep going. The Jason, I love this build and everything. He's just a huge dude in this one. Richard Brooker, who played him in this, but just a classic for me. This has that classic, that classic Camp Crystal Lake feel for me. And I love the whole barn kind of thing out there, the barn setting, and the characters. Shelley's one of the best characters in the series. And some of my favorite kills in this series. So this one is just a classic Friday the 13th movie that just is a major standout for me. All right, top 4. Number 4, we're looking at Freddy versus Jason. That's gonna maybe piss some people off a little bit, maybe makes people question what, this to me though, I mean, man, this is one I just loved growing up. This was one of the only Friday the 13th movies I was allowed to watch, if you want to, call it a Friday the 13th. I ranked this, you already know my love for this thing, if you've seen my ranking of Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I love this movie so much. It's just a fun time from beginning to end. Sure, it's a little campy and a little dumb at times, with during like the whole battle with Freddy versus Jason, just over the top like a freaking WWE match. They're just beating the hell out of each other and just with all these crazy moves. Freddy drops an elbow, but even I just love the build up to the and the kills and everything. Hell, Jason gets a lot more kills than Freddy does in this. The whole thing where they're out the farm with the fire, flaming machete, throws it, kills people. I love the opening of this, showing like both Freddy and Jason's kind of not really, it kind of shows more of Freddy's origin and everything, and him going into Jason's mind and kind of waking him up and everything. Love that. Love Jason. It's cool seeing Jason. Another time where you're seeing him in like a different setting, walking around like this town and everything, and out in a cornfield and stuff. And I love the battle at the end. Again, as crazy and as campy as that is, it's a blast. And hell, as you can see here, I'm a big Freddy Krueger guy. These are like my top 2 favorite slashers. So seeing them battle it out, it's just a absolute blast for me. The kills are awesome. The gore. The story is a little, I get where it's like, okay, like they are trying to, it's almost like there are times in this movie where the characters are like over-explaining what's going on. Like, we know what you're trying to do. Like, and I don't like, there's another little nitpick here. I don't like how they're trying to make Jason afraid of water when, like, all the damn movies, all of them, he's swimming in the water. Pretty much, that's just what he does. He's drowned so many people. Come on. Like, that's never been a thing where he's afraid of water. They were trying to do that fire versus water thing or whatever. But, that's just a nitpick. It doesn't really take a lot away from the movie for me. So, just an all-time classic to me. I get maybe a lot of people just can't really stand this movie. I've seen some people really, really dog on it before, in different people's videos and stuff. But to me, it's just a fun freaking blast. Top 3, we're taking a look at Part 7, The New Blood. Kane Hodder's first go as Jason with that, iconic look with the chain and just the zombified, his jaw showing. Very, very visceral Jason. I think Kane Hodder's the best, does the best job of playing Jason. He's done it more times than anybody with 7, 8, 9, and 10. I like the twist with the sidekick chick, what's her name? Tina. Is it dumb? Pretty much, kind of, but it makes for an interesting movie and another really, really cool final battle. One of my favorite final battles. Tina breaking his mask and everything. And I know a lot of the kills, the gore did get cut down in this one from what it was originally going to be, but it's still a gory flick. There's a lot of blood, a lot of blood and guts going on here. The classic sleeping bag kill. Come on, the jamming that kazoo thing in that dude's eyeball. That just awesome stuff. I love whenever he jams that axe in that bitchy girl's face, just throws her to the side. And then the main Tina and that dude, the main guy she's with, try to escape, and Jason just steps over, slams the door. Kane Hodder just nails it. But yeah, to me, the whole psychic girl thing, it just makes makes it interesting, shakes up the formula a little bit, because there is kind of a formula with these movies, especially like 1 through like 4, 5. 5 shakes up a little bit. There's definitely a formula with these. This one really introduced like a whole new kind of thing, like something interesting, an extra interesting factor for Jason. So I love this one. I love the buzzsaw kill. There's just so many memorable moments in this for me that make this an all-time classic. Again, the final battle is one of the best of the series, and just all-time classic. I've seen more and more love for this one as the years have gone by online. But I have still seen a lot of people hate this one because of the psychic girl, pretty much Jason versus Carrie thing. But one of my favorites, obviously, of all time, because it's number 3. And here's where stuff's really gonna shock the world here. My number 2, my second favorite of all time, Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. This is like, I don't know what it is, man. I just freaking love this movie. I love how dumb and crazy it is. Him going to Manhattan. Has some of my favorite kills in there with like the sauna rock. The boxing dude, he punches his head off. You know, the dipping the dude in the sludge. I mean, out in the alleyway. I mean, and look how slimy Jason is and everything. And the guitar kill. There's so many great kills in this. And I know he wasn't in Manhattan all that much, really, in this movie. So maybe I think that's where a lot of people, the hate comes from a lot. Is because he wasn't really, they were maybe disappointed. But I had heard about that possibly, before watching this movie for the first time years ago. I had heard like, oh, they're probably not going to be in there a bunch. But you know what? The boat scene is really freaking cool too, in a really unique setting. So to me, I think and there's a lot of great moments on there. Because I mean, it's like, man, they're pretty contained on that damn boat, and shit hits the fan pretty quick. And there's pretty much nowhere to run. You got to jump off the freaking boat, which they end up doing, as everything goes crazy. And then once they do get into the city and everything, I think it has some of the best scenes. Him standing, looking at that hockey mask, that hockey advertisement. Him standing in Times Square, kicking the boombox. On the subway. There's so many great moments in this movie, and I get people maybe think like, really, like your second favorite is one where he's not even in Crystal Lake. Well, he is a little bit at the beginning, right? Which I do love that whole intro too. But I just really. I like when they shake it up with Jason a little bit, obviously, because, part 7's my number 3. But this one right here, to me, is just an all-time classic. I love the soundtrack in this one. Has such a cool feel to it, kind of a darker tone. Like that city, kind of grit to it. That feel, the soundtrack really helps, convey that message. And this movie's an all-time classic to me. Anytime I pop this thing on, I am having a fucking blast. So, I get it if people are super surprised or anything of this being up here, but it's been one of my favorites for a long, long time. And so, to each their own. If you hate it, I feel you. You want to see Jason mainly in Crystal Lake. I totally understand where you're coming from, but this one to me, it's just a classic. And number 1, let's use process of elimination here. It is Jason Lives. I obviously have a bias towards Zombie Jason's films. That's just the way, I like him best. This is like just the perfect Friday the 13th movie to me. One of my favorite movies of all time. Another awesome soundtrack. You get him coming back to life. Tommy, this is like my favorite version of Tommy Jarvis, in this movie. A lot of action going on in this movie. Crazy kills. Jason's a badass. It's not Kane Hodder, but it's C.J. Graham, who does such a great job. Probably my second favorite actor of Jason. I like how, Jason's going around in the daytime out there in the woods with some great kills, like ripping that dude's arm off and slinging him into a tree, cutting all those people's heads off with a machete. You got him using the throwing knives, bending the sheriff's legs, like back behind his head. I mean, come on, man. There's just some incredible stuff. The whole RV scene is just freaking phenomenal. And this is another one that doesn't take itself super seriously. There's kind of some goofy moments and everything in it, while still being, while not being anywhere near as over the top as like Jason X or anything. But it's got like, sprinkled in kind of goofy moments and everything. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's been one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite Friday the 13th movie for a long time. I remember watching this one, I think I was like 10 years old for the first time, and just absolutely loved it, because like I said earlier, part 1, 2, and Freddy vs. Jason were like the ones I'd seen. Then finally, as I was getting a little bit older, I was, able to actually start watching more of these movies, and this was like one of like the first ones. I think it was like 10 or 11 when I watched this one, and I was just blown away at how awesome it was, and all the crazy kills and just the world kind of they build in this one. I love all the characters in this one. the counselors. And it's crazy. There's actually kids on the campsite in this one. That's pretty crazy. And, you get that creepy scene where Jason's like looming over that little girl and everything, but then just moves on. Creepy stuff. Just a phenomenal movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. Put this thing on any time of day, rain or shine, man. I mean, I'm gonna have an absolute blast with this one. And it's set in Crystal Lake. You got and this is kind of like the perfect balance between like your more human Jasons and zombie Jasons, because he's still kind of, he's not so tattered up and everything yet, and decrepit and everything. He's still moving. I mean, this Jason, C.J. Graham's Jason here, he can move pretty damn fast, walking through them woods, but you get this epic kind of a scene from it back there, on that boat where they light, put the gasoline out there. There's fire going everywhere. Probably my favorite ending sequence in any of the movies. I would say it is for sure. The whole battle. I mean, because it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. Then there's that where that scene where Tommy and him go underwater, and they're just battling it out, and then he sinks to the top, and then Jason's still fighting as he's chained up to that rock, grabbing up, and then the propeller gets on and just fucks his face up, all kinds of crazy. Again, I can't praise this movie enough. This is just an all-time classic to me, one of my favorites, and I do see a lot of people dig this one. And I've seen this as a lot of people's favorites, and I'm in that camp, and have been, again, for a long time. But yeah, guys, that is my Friday the 13th series ranking. Like I said, that's my second favorite horror movie franchise of all time, right behind the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And so I have just a deep love for these movies. Again, the only one I really hate and can't stand is Jason Goes to Hell. I at least can like some of the, even the ones, like I think, my number 11 was the remake. I do like the remake and have a good time watching it. So whenever I'm watching through that series, I'm having a blast, 11 out of 12 times. So, but with that being said, guys, next time we look at something like this, as you've seen, I ranked the Cenobites after I did the Hellraiser franchise ranking, and I ranked the Freddy looks after I ranked the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So I will be ranking every Jason look, and he's had all kinds of crazy looks and different, appearances, and the evolution of him is really cool in the series. So we're going to take a look at that next time. I don't know if it'll be my next video exactly, because we still got some other stuff going on with the Alice in Chains ranking and everything like that. But I'm thinking probably next week, this, Monday. Next Monday will probably be whenever we take a look at those and rank all the Jason looks out of all those. So I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are down there, and let's talk about some Friday the 13th. What are some of your guys' favorites, least favorites? Why do you like this one over that one or the other? Because I love talking with you guys down there in the comments about the differing opinions. That's what makes this great. I got Jason Takes Manhattan as my number 2. That's more than likely going to be probably at the bottom of somebody's list. And, I'd love to hear why and hear kind of your point of view and perspective on it. I love big franchises like this, big horror franchises to where, very rarely are you going to have an exact copy of a list. So that's just what makes this stuff so fun. But anyways, guys, yeah, thanks for watching. This was a blast. The next series we're going to look at, again, not really, I just kind of do them whenever I do them. I just kind of watch through these series again whenever I, feel like it, you get the time, and then end up ranking them. There's never really been a set time period for these to come out. But the Halloween series will be the one that we end up looking at after we rank the Jason appearances. Later on down the line, I'll rank all the Halloween movies and then rank the Michael Myers looks. So that'll be kind of the next thing we go into as far as horror goes, once we cover all the Jason looks. But stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the Alice in Chains ranking video coming up later this week. Got some awesome stuff coming up. So thanks again, everybody. Like, subscribe, and comment.